It is a cool but sunny Saturday afternoon in Hamilton. Pink Week continues in the Canadian Football League. We're in Hamilton, yes. It's a home game for the Toronto Argonauts.
We have two young guns on the marquee here in this one tonight. Bo Levi Mitchell, second in the league in passing yards coming into this week's action, but he loves the deep ball. He leads the CFL in passes over 30 yards. His number one target there, Eric Rogers. And Trevor Harris, the starting quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts, he can get it in the end zone. Leads the Canadian Football League in touchdown passes with 31.
Scott Milanovich, his Argos, well, they've been nomads all season. Here they are in Hamilton. It's been peculiar to say the least. The magical mystery tour continues as John Hufnagel is one win away from 100 in his career. So it's the Stampeders. It is the Argonauts. Tim Brown is back. A battle of division co-leaders here a month away from the CFL playoffs. Calgary picks it up right away, and the big man for the Stampeders, Derek Wigan, is the returner, not used to holding the rock, but he does and brings that back, and Calgary brings out its offense.
No John Cornish going through concussion protocol back in Calgary, so it will be Matt Walter at tailback. We'll see a little bit of Torrey Harrison as well. Marquay McDaniel and Eric Rogers are tied top the league in second down conversion catches, the money catches to move the chains.
Again, no Cornish, no Jeff Fuller. Stampeders with American bookends as Matt Walter takes the ball up the gut. Here's the Toronto Argonauts defense against the Stamps today.
Led up front by Tristan Opalahugo. He leads their team in sacks with 9. How about the play of Gregory Jones in the middle? Second year in the CFL, first year starting at middle linebacker. Their best defender in this back end is A.J. Jefferson. We'll probably see him matched up on Eric Rogers or Marquay McDaniel today.
Second down and 7, Bo Mitchell. Slap pattern to Anthony Parker, who starts out on that wide side in place of Fuller. There's a penalty flag on the play. Our referee today is Kim Murphy here at Tim Hortons Field. It is windy, it is blustery. The sun is now shaded by the cloud, and it's against the Calgary Stampeders.
Tell by the reaction from head coach John Hufnagel, as you mentioned, looking for win number 100 in his career.
Illegal interference, blocking downfield prior to the pass. Calgary, number 1, 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
Receiver Lamar Durant is the guilty party, so it's going to be second and long, a throwing down again for the Stampeders. We should mention the Argos won the coin toss and deferred, and this could be a factor in this game today.
Is some wind, and we've seen that before.
Yes, we have.
The new Tim Hortons Field.
25-year-old Bo Levi Mitchell out of Katy, Texas, putting up big yardage again. Turns the other way. Marquay McDaniel, who used to play here in Hamilton with the Tiger Cats. McDaniel having a great season again, inching closer to 1,000 yards on the year.
Well, he wants to get there. He's 3 in the league coming into this week. Eric Rogers, his teammate, number 1 in the CFL in receiving yards. 2 receivers so far have hit the 1,000-yard mark. We saw Chris Williams get there last night in Ottawa. Rogers has been there a few weeks now, and Marquay McDaniel should get there tonight.
Third down and 3. They're short of the first down, so Rob Maver, one of the leading punters in the Canadian Football League, will launch this from his 37-yard line. Back to retrieve. Chad Owens is going to let this bounce with that heavy breeze and is going to give up the first point of the ball game. Yet again, the Calgary Stampeders, you know, they've got a great record. They're still unable to score in their first possessions. They are 0-4 this season. A 77-yard boot, by the way, for Rob Maver.
Trevor Harris not only leads the league in touchdown passes, he also leads in completion percentage. So he'll take the ball deep. He's not afraid to do that. High completion percentage, just like the guy he's playing in front of right now in Ricky Ray. Two-way Whitaker, huge in the last couple of games for the Toronto Argonauts. He came back off that injury list and Torrey Gurley leads the team in touchdowns.
So Harris of Waldo, Ohio. Play action as Deontay Spencer decides to go a little bit longer downfield and has Fidel Hazelton for a first down on the far side. 14-yard gain. Harris to one of his big three.
Fidel Hazelton was able to work this route, push his defender up the field, and come back. We'll get to the starters to watch for the Calgary Stampeders, but don't be surprised if they go ahead and try and test that new corner outside in Tavon Campbell.
Tavon Campbell, who's back home in Toronto. Draft pick of the Stampeders this year. Played at the University of Regina. Harris has it picked off. And down the sideline goes Brandon Smith, who is caught. Almost a pick six. If not for Brandon Whitaker, who stopped Brandon Smith, the Stampeders are in the end zone. As it is, they're hovering near the goal line. Brandon Smith with his second pick of the season. Tightrope the sidelines. 47-yard return.
Calgary's Brandon Smith shows you a little closing speed from a defensive back here. He's going to take Brandon Whitaker out of the backfield, and he's a step behind right here in the left of your screen. And I think Trevor Harris side, he's not going to be able to make that distance up, but he goes in about a step and a half, cuts underneath it, and is on the doorstep.
Bo Mitchell, far side, McDaniel scores, touchdown. And the Stampeders capitalize on the Argo turnover. Marquay McDaniel puts 6 on the board.
Boy, whether it's two-point converts from this area or down in the red zone inside the 10-yard line, that little push route from Marquay McDaniel, so difficult for opposing defenses to cover. He just gets that outside leverage, and it's a time for the defense to get in that chase mode, and they just can't catch him.
Don't be surprised if they go to McDaniel here again. This is a team, the Stampeders, that goes to the two-point convert attempt more often than any other team. They're 11 for 14. And McDaniel normally is the target. So they'll go for 2 and try to make this a 9-0 game. They pitch it out to Matt Walter. He's got room, and they're saying they did not get in. We do have a signal that the convert was successful. So Matt Walter does score 2 here. And the Stampeders now have a 9-0 lead. And I'll tell you what, in the air, that ball just broke the plane. But this was the score. After the interception by Brandon Smith, M&M takes it to the house. Stamps lead 9-0. Suit CFL Command is looking at this. This might be overturned.
I'm not sure Matt Walter got there before his backside touchdown. He'd have been down by contact. You take a look at when his butt hits the ground here.
The previous 2-point scoring by Calgary has been determined by the command center under review that the player was down by contact prior to breaking the plane. Convert is no good.
So the convert is not good, as Calgary thought they had to. And so command says no. So the score is 7-0. Again, a single earlier on the Rob Maver punt, plus that touchdown.
Damon, happy birthday.
Marquay McDaniel with his 4th major of the season. Back to return is Deontay Spencer with room. Look out! Goodbye! There is a flag on the play. Spencer scores the touchdown. But is this coming back? This has been an issue for the Calgary Stampeders, though, this season. They have given up 5 kick return touchdowns.
Holding. Serrano, number 47. 10-yard penalty, first down.
A penalty will negate this one.
What a return by Deontay Spencer, who will be playing a little bit of receiver here tonight as well, with Kevin Elliott home for personal reasons right now. Great return. Jurachuk is on the left of your screen here. I think he's blocking on Josh Bell and just does not let him break free. He just grabs the jersey around the shoulder, the outside shoulder, with that right hand. That's a holding call.
Great call by the official right there. So 98-yard touchdown is taken off the board. Harris back in shotgun. Whitaker with a spin move. Junior Turner wraps him up and brings him down, a pickup of a couple of yards.
Well, pretty much every week we can put Charleston Hughes up on the defenders to watch for the Calgary Stampeders.
I think we do.
Yeah, he's 9 sacks, leads that team, and he's been in a bit of a slump of late when it comes to the sack department. But there's that new corner out there, Tavon Campbell, Canadian, playing on the wide side corner. We'll see if Toronto goes after him.
Harris barks out the signals, looks now, and finds Torrey Gurley, who lunges forward past the first down marker. And the spot is actually right at the 35, and that's right at the marker. They might measure this, but it looks like it is a first down.
That's the second throw to Torrey Gurley in that matchup on Tavon Campbell. It's harder to get out there and get the one-on-one you want, and Calgary will mix it up. They'll play some zone defense and give you different types of looks. Rich Dubler will mix it up on offenses, but they're going to go after him. That's 2 now.
We'll watch that matchup. Harris now looks left side, a bit of a wobbler. Fidel Hazelton can't pull that in, but that matchup with Gurley would have been a battle of former Gamecocks in South Carolina against Fred Bennett, who's out with a broken arm.
Yeah, the Calgary injury situation just continues to grow. They've had problems on their O-line all year. They lost John Cornish a few times, including this game, and now it's hitting their secondary. Both corners are out, Fred Bennett and Joe Burnett.
Second down and 10 now for the Argos. Stamps rush 3. On the roll is Harris, and that throw is short of the intended target, Deontay Spencer.
Well, that was Tavon Campbell in good position that time, so we'll give him one. So Torrey Gurley's got a couple of catches, and the newcomer on the corner makes that first play in great position. He's out of the University of Regina, CIS second-team All-Canadian in 2013, and was in that East-West Shrine Bowl. So guy with great speed and that closing speed that I talked about and that we saw a little from Brandon Smith of in that interception.
So now Justin Pilardi. The Argos have employed more kickers than an average soccer team this year, and Pilardi is now both kicker and punter. This is only his second punt this season, and it's a pretty good one when you consider the wind. Averaged 42.5 yards when he was in the league full-time. Tim Brown spun to the ground by James Jurachuk. 28-yard kick and a 3-yard return. There's an MOP candidate. Mr. Rogers, Eric Rogers, leads the CFL in almost every receiving category. Here off Lake Ontario in the Golden Horseshoe in Hamilton. Kind of a neutral site game. The home team, the Argos, the visitors, the Stampeders, who were here only a couple weeks ago to play the Cats. Torrey Harrison out of the backfield on a screen pass, has the edge. Big play there from the Calgary Stampeders as they move it into Toronto territory.
Well, I mentioned we're going to see a little of Torrey Harrison as well. They'll switch the ratio and put Torrey Harrison in, take Matt Walter out, and that means you're going to have to play a Canadian receiver, Anthony Parker. Lamar Durant will see a little bit of action because of it. You see number 1 out there blocking for his tailback.
See how this Argo pass defense reacts. They're second last in the league, and there's a shot down the sideline, down the rails for Harrison. Bo Mitchell looking at that matchup again as he was dusted as he threw the football.
Yeah, he got the matchup he wanted because he got Harrison out of the backfield here on a wheel route, and he's going to get the one-on-one with the linebacker Thomas Miles. And that's one that he wants to try and throw deep, get to the end zone. Miles is in chase position, and he just misses him by a yard or two.
Again, he's with the wind here, getting close to the midway point of this first quarter. First quarter has been a problem for the Stampeders this season. A little pump and go, and over the top. Catch is made again from Markway McDaniel, who has been Mr. Clutch for the Calgary Stampeders. All the talk about Fuller, all the talk about Eric Rogers, quite obviously. Do not sleep on this guy.
Yeah, I mentioned it the last couple of weeks, Ron, that this guy, we've got to stop saying he's the underrated player in the league. He's one of the best receivers in the league, period, and has been all season long. We talked about his clutch catches, and that was a good throw by Bo. I mean, he had to throw that low and in the middle to protect his receiver.
1,003 yards now for Markway McDaniel. Now Walter. Shoestring tackle on the far side near the 10-yard line.
And that puts that last catch puts Markway McDaniel in the 1,000-yard club in 2015. 80 catches, 1,003 and counting. So he joins his teammate Eric Rogers and Chris Williams of the Ottawa Red Blacks. And congratulations to the Red Blacks. Yes. They're in the playoffs.
Have to win and they're in, just like the Argonauts today. If they win, they are in the battle in the East. Today, all three teams, Hamilton, Ottawa, Toronto, all with 9 wins. There's a little hit screen. Guess who? And knocked down at the goal line is McDaniel. Absolutely tattooed by free safety Jermaine Gabriel. Brandon Smith in there as well. That Devin Smith in there. Here is the hit at the goal line. Boom. Gabriel.
Not until McDaniel had done some damage and got it down to the 1-yard line, but that was some kind of hit from the safety spot.
So now it is 3rd and goal for the Stampeders. Bryant Moniz at quarterback. Looks like he wants to take it himself. Moniz will, and he'll score another Calgary touchdown.
Over that right side of the offensive line for Calgary Stampeders, Gary Williams and Spencer Wilson.
This has been the Markway McDaniel show so far, however.
You're right. I mean, he has stepped up again, hit that 1,000-yard mark. He's a leader in yak yards. Just ahead coming into this week of Brad Sinopoli in that department. He'll add to those totals already in this first quarter. Bo Levi Mitchell has been on, and his #1 target has been Markway McDaniel.
You are right, Suits. He has been money Mitchell today. So the Stamps don't go for 2 this time. They'll go for the 1-point convert, Rene Paredes, from 32 yards out with the breeze. 19 for 23 is Paredes in 1-point converts. Markway McDaniel, though, a couple more big plays, almost had a touchdown, but this was the big one. Got them down inside the red zone, and soon inside the end zone for the Stamps, who lead 14-0.
7-play drive, 60 yards, 8 up, 3 minutes and 24 seconds. This was the big play, 28-yarder to Markway McDaniel. A throw nice low and into the middle where he could protect himself. He got it down to the 1-yard line, and Moniz knocks it in from there for the Calgary Stampeders. A real turn of events. The Toronto Argonauts had the kick return touchdown off the board because of the James Yurichuk penalty, and 3 minutes later they look up and they're down by 14.
Yeah, the Horsemen have feasted here in this first quarter. Notoriously, they have been struggled. Been a bit of a struggle in the first quarters for the Calgary Stampeders. -47 differential this season, but right now +14.
Think about all those little things. The interception. Trevor Harris throws, turns into the first touchdown for Calgary. 7 points or 6 points off the turnover. They missed the convert, and then that penalty by Yurichuk, and Calgary is up by 2 scores.
Spencer again, follow the football, and the Argos look like they may have recovered. Wow. And it is a shaky start for the Argos here in Hamilton today.
Thomas Miles may have bailed out his teammate.
Charlie Power knocked the ball out. The Argos recover.
There was Miles.
For Manitoba Bison star Thomas Miles making his presence felt as a starting linebacker as well, with Corey Greenwood out of the lineup. So the Argo offense has to get untracked here. 5 minutes to go, again operating against the wind. Harris now in trouble. Will go down as the pocket closed, wanted to take off, still got positive yardage, picked up a couple. Let's go to the sideline now and join Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, Chad Owens isn't going to complain, because even though injuries may have stopped his ability to gain a better relationship with Trevor Harris, the one that Gurley, Elliott, and Hazelton have, what Owens is doing is being a better leader. He started a kind of friendly competition between himself and the younger receivers, saying, let's see who can make the best catch, more receiving yards. And of course, we all saw what he did against Ottawa a couple weeks ago. But the younger receivers, in particular Deontay Spencer, watch Owens so particularly now in practice. And Owens says, yes, maybe I could complain, but I'm not going to. This is the best receiving core I've been around, and I want to teach them. Guys?
Well, on cue, thank you, Matthew. Chad Owens makes the catch. Charleston Hughes looked like he jumped offside. So this will likely be declined. And they'll take the catch by Owens.
It's been interesting to see Chad Owens this year in that role, a different role for him. I mean, he has
Offside.
been...
Calgary, number 39. Penalties decline. First down, Toronto.
I mean, he's in the last couple of weeks have really stepped up, and Chad Owens has made some big plays when called upon, but he's been called upon a lot less this year because of the new receivers in the core.
Great point by Matty. And listening to Brandon Whitaker yesterday talk about Owens and how he has become a leader, and what Chad Owens did against the Ottawa Redblacks when he showed us why he is called the Flying Hawaiian.
Well, and I mean, he still makes the biggest catch in recent memory when called upon, and makes the plays. A couple weeks earlier against Ottawa, he had a punt return for a touchdown. So when he's called upon, he's stepping up, especially of late. He was injured out of the gate, out of training camp.
Still very dependable as Harris goes over the top, 2nd and 10. Owens gets drilled by Deron Mayo.
Be close. He's going to be
very close. He's actually going to look like where the spot is.
I think they're going to kick it away.
Yeah, they're going to be about 4 yards shy. I finally figured out what they call that play, though. They did write that play up, the Trevor Harris to Chad Owens, even though
the one-hander.
Yeah, it's the CO2 OMG TD. That's what it was.
CO2. Hang on, I'm writing that down.
TD.
CO2 OMG
TD. That's what they called it in the huddle.
Oh my God.
That's what that was. They'll kick this away, 3rd and 4. Oh, close to being blocked. Tim Brown. So Brown brings it up near the 40-yard line, and the Stamps bring their offense out here. They've been here a couple of weeks ago against the Ticats, and needless to say, John Hufnagel knows today is just a little bit different.
But the little inconvenience that we have to put up with is nowhere near what that Toronto football team has had to put up all year long. And, you know, they've done a remarkable job of handling the inconvenience and the distractions and using it as a rallying cry. And like they stated, hey, they'll play on the parking lot.
Well, yes, they would. The parking lot today is here at Tim Hortons Field. Anthony Parker.
Yeah, you know, and this is why Scott Milanovic, I don't know if you vote, Rod, for Coach of the Year every year. I do, and I get a ballot. You put the 3 names down that you think are deserving. And
are you giving away your vote already?
Well, one of them, Scott Milanovic, is on there for sure. You know, and the adversity and what they face. But listen, at the end of the day, it's a beautiful night in Hamilton. We're in a state-of-the-art stadium. 2 great football teams on the field.
Absolutely.
I mean, is there anything to complain about? Yeah, let's just have some fun and watch some football.
Yeah, it's been a magical mystery tour for sure. And it has has been an inconvenience in so many ways for the Argos, but
they haven't used it.
It's a cliche saying.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, and
next year will be a whole lot better at BMO Field.
Oh, absolutely. And they're 9-5 football team. And, you know, in some ways, being on the road in all these different games has probably brought them together a little bit. They're a young team. You know, they're a young team with young receiving core, young secondary. And Scott Milanovich has done a great job of not using it ever as an excuse. They've become the Road Warriors, and Ricky Foley even made the T-shirts that says Toronto against everyone.
Yeah, there you go. I figure Ricky would do something like that. Maver angles to Owens. Corralled near the 20 and brought down near the 22-yard line with 1:19 to go in the first quarter. And the Argos trying to move this football a battle of field position right now. They will have the wind in the second quarter.
You know, we got a couple of young quarterbacks on the marquee here. Trevor Harris, his first year starting basically as the guy with the keys to the car. And of course, Bo Levi Mitchell, he's young as well. And the future is right now in the young quarterback department. Some of these guys aren't necessarily young in age. Mike Riley's at 30 years old, but he's got lots of time left in him. Zach Collaros, of course, will be back from injury. That's a pretty good list, and the future is right now for those quarterbacks.
There's the rush, and Hazelton has some blocks. A convoy out front got to the second level and beyond, up near the 42-yard line, and Vidal Hazelton popped that shoulder pad back in, but moves the football. Good play.
Great shot there, and I just want to show you what we did with this list too. And on the bottom there, James Franklin in Edmonton, Brett Smith in Saskatchewan, Jeff Matthews will play in Hamilton tomorrow, or in Montreal for Hamilton tomorrow. Those guys we have to see a little bit more, but they have a bright future. How about Jonathan Jennings' first half against Winnipeg, over 300 yards passing? Rakeem Cato led Montreal to a win against Calgary. I mean, there's some young talent in the league that is stepping up, and it bodes well for the future, but it's also right now, and right now tonight we're seeing two of them.
We are seeing two of them, and it is a season like no other we have seen. And you know, the glass is half full when you see some of these young players get an opportunity.
Oh yeah,
you've been around this league for a long time. It's happened before, by the way, and you have to get a chance to play, and the next thing you do is get a chance to step up, and the next thing you do is get a chance to shine
and win
and the next thing you know, they start calling you a star.
Yeah.
And maybe even an MOP. As the rush is on, he feels the heat, and
I think his arm got hit.
Yeah, maybe, as Hazelton was the target. Incomplete pass. That's one quarter complete. Not a good quarter for the Toronto Argos, as they give up an interception, and then later had a kick return taken away by penalty. The Stamps lead 14-0 after one in Hamilton. Division co-leaders colliding in the Steel City, kind of a neutral site for the Argos and Stamps, a home game for the Argos. It's 14-0 Toronto, but Glenn Suter, you maintain that the score should be something a little bit different.
Should be 7-all. I mean, you know, all the little things matter, all those little plays. When you see the interception by Trevor Harris, that turns into a touchdown for Bo Levi Mitchell, playing almost in the red zone when he took the ball over, only 86 yards passing in that quarter. And then the penalty to James Juracek on the 98-yard Deontay Spencer kick return for a touchdown. Takes the return off the board, takes 6 points off the board, and Calgary scores right away. It's 14-0. All those little things matter.
We'll see how they add up here as the team's trade ends, and now Calgary will operate against the wind, which was blowing pretty fiercely early on. Justin Pilardi again now handles both the kicking and punting duties. Again, Swayze Waters out of the lineup, and this is a better kick to Tim Brown. Browning makes one miss and then slides up near the 42-yard line. Again, good field position for Bo Levi Mitchell and the former Ticat Marquay McDaniel doing some damage here.
What a quarter for Marquay McDaniel. He has 4 catches in that quarter, 56 yards. Again, not a lot of yards on the board because Calgary started in Toronto's end of the field most of their drives in that first quarter, but only one incompletion, and that wasn't a throw in the direction of Marquay McDaniel. That was to the back, Torrey Harrison. McDaniel targeted 4 times, caught 4 catches.
Again, no John Cornish, but Matt Walter gets stuffed up the middle. Thomas Miles makes the tackle. Keep in mind, too, that this Calgary Stampeder team, who is missing a great Canadian back in John Cornish, just added a big Canadian power back this week.
Yes, they did. Jerome Messam in trade with the Saskatchewan Roughriders for a third-round draft pick. There's Messam in the sweat top.
Could you imagine if they ever put those two in the backfield?
Well, the other thing is Jerome Messam can play tight end. I mean, blocking may not be his strong suit, but he can catch the ball.
Talk about thunder and lightning. Joe West makes his first catch of the ball game up near the midfield stripe. And the first down marker. Looks like they'll move the chains. A 9-yard pickup for West.
Calgary Stampeders, Dave Dickinson, the offensive coordinator, do not have Jeff Fuller at in their lineup tonight. And that's why we'll see a little bit more of Lamar Durant and Anthony Parker. Gotta get Joe West going somehow. He's an off season.
Under 300 yards. As Harrison rumbles left side. And again, keep in mind that bit of a ratio buster as well for the Calgary Stampeders. The fact that they've had so many injuries on their O-line. They have to play 2 American tackles right now, and that changes things considerably.
Yeah, Derek Dennis at left tackle from Temple. Gary Williams, a familiar name for CFL fans, at right tackle from Kentucky. So they've got the import tackles. If they go with Torrey Harrison, that means Lamar Durant has to come in and take one of the American receivers out.
Second down and 5 for the Stamps. Up 14 and up in the air again. The football out 2. Anthony Parker, the former Calgary Dino, will move the sticks again close to the 35-yard line.
But like we talked about Toronto, Rod, that they don't use the circumstances and their traveling and their road warrior status as an excuse. Calgary and John Huffnagel will not use injuries or anything like that as an excuse. I have not seen a team be hit in one area more than Calgary's been hit in their O-line this year. And they've just plugged and played, kept it moving.
Look at the numbers for Bo Levi Mitchell. 8 of 9 so far. And make it 9 of 10. And Matt Walters swallowed up right there by Miles. Maybe even for a loss on the play. So it'll be a throwing down again. And right you are, Suits, about the plug and play capacity of the Calgary Stampeders. It speaks to the great depth this organization has.
Yeah, and here's another young great star in the league that is emerging. I mean, Corey Greenwood is hurt, and plugged in there is Thomas Miles. He had a huge game against Montreal for the Argos. Makes a tackle on there and forces second and long here.
Mitchell sends out 6 receivers, and Eric Rogers has his first reception of the ball game, the CFL's leading receiver. There's a penalty flag that came late as he was about to be tackled. He brings it into the red zone immediately, and Toronto signaling that it is against the Stampeders. Looks like it might be a pick play, an interference play against the Stamps.
Illegal interference, blocking downfield prior to the pass. Calgary number 16, 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
Daniel doesn't like the call.
You can block once the receiver has the ball and is running with it. You can't block before that ball's in the air, and it's very close to the left of your screen. Marquay McDaniel makes contact, almost a pick play too, though, on Thomas Miles. So blocking downfield was what was called. The block looked like it came after the catch to me, and that's why McDaniel is shaking his head. But you can't pick either on a crossing route.
So second and 21, they'll only rush 3 and settle back. And Rogers again. So now that is his official first catch of the game. Gets it just past the initial line of scrimmage, and they'll bring out their field goal unit here.
Got back on the board, Eric Rogers, and Mitchell still trying to discuss that penalty. The officials, and I'm not so sure they just maybe necessarily think it was a block downfield. It looked like just a pick play offensively. You can run the rub where you subtly get in the way of a defender trying to close.
Like what you just said, subtly.
But you can't go ahead and just hit him and pick him.
Rene Paredes from the 38.5 against the wind, and he puts that through, and the lead is extended to 17-0. Here in Hamilton, home of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, which they will move, by the way, next year to here at Tim Hortons Place. 2 11-win teams coming into today. Brandon Whitaker. And while we were at commercial break, Suits, you were saying, where's Whitaker? Where's Whitaker? Guess what? There he is. They heard you.
And a penalty flag. I'm not sure if this may be coming back.
Holding Toronto, number 67. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's the center, Jeff Keeping.
First and 10 goes from the 45-yard.
Only a couple touches so far today for Whitaker.
You just cannot grab the shoulder pad and the jersey up around the shoulder pads.
So first and 20, 10-yard penalty. Play action with Whitaker. Now Harris going deep, has his man, and in coverage, Joshua Bell gained an advantage there on those last couple yards, covered some ground as Hazelton was behind cover.
He was, but because Trevor Harris had to step up in the pocket, and it took him a while to get that one out of there, he almost was too far, and it allowed Josh Bell to get back involved from the safety spot. You see safety in the middle. Josh Bell, he kind of steps up, then he recovers. Now, Harris steps up, has to hop a few times, and then it's almost like he outran his arm.
He's going to have to go deep again as it's second down and 20. Chad Owens can't make that go as errant pass is another incompletion for Harris, and they're going to have to kick the football away again. And right now, the Argonauts offense just cannot get any momentum.
Well, you know, a couple of penalties have been huge here in this first half for Toronto. That James Jurachuk, again, uncharacteristic, because he just doesn't get those kind of penalties on a return. Or they have 6 points on the board, and then that holding call off a good Brandon Whitaker first down run.
Pilardi lets this fly. Tim Brown. Stamps have not returned a touchdown on a kick this season. In fact, their number is very low, and Brown was hurt. Keep in mind, no return, 50-yard kick. Scott Milanovich puzzled right now. His team down 17. Defending champs with a lot of depth, loaded up again this week. With more, here's Matthew Shinetti.
Absolutely, Rod, standing beside Jerome Messam. And Jerome, we all know how crazy it was when you got the news of the trade, but how have you been adapting to life as a Stampeder over the last few days?
I went and met with the team yesterday when they came to town. Got my playbook and just trying to go through that and get accustomed to the offense.
One thing Coach Dickinson was telling us before the game is that to say that you're going to get more carries or somebody else is going to get more carries isn't fair. It's going to be situational. It's going to be opponent. What has he told you about your role going forward?
Just to come in and be ready to play. So that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm going to try to get the offense down as quick as I can and hopefully hit the ground running.
In terms of sharing the responsibilities with John Cornish, how good can this running attack be going into the playoffs?
John's a great player, and it could be awesome. You know, we're both elite backs, and we're both capable of starting. So to have both of us in the backfield, it's just great for Calgary.
Thanks for this.
Thank you, guys.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
You know, in the short term, a real good trade by John Huffman.
Jerome Messam has made his way through the CFL West, that's for sure. Matt Walter barrels forward.
He should be close. He's going to be in around that yard or maybe inside it. John Huffnagel getting down there to get a good view of it. You know, in the short term, this is a great trade for the Calgary Stampeders heading into the playoff run here and down the stretch as they fight for first in the division. John Cornish has had an off and on season when it comes to the injuries, and it's the concussion thought again and protocol he's going through. So this gives him more depth at Canadian running back with Matt Walter. But if they can get on the field together, as you mentioned, wow, he could be the fullback, Messam, for a John Cornish tailback set, which would look pretty good too.
Rob Maver, driving kick. Wind seems to have subsided now in this second quarter. Chad Owens has a seam. And Owens, who looked like he might have been stopped for only a 2-yard gain on this return, picks up 29. Jerome Messam out of Brampton back home, and now home with the Calgary Stampeders. QEW into enemy territory. I think it's almost sacrilege when you think about it for so many Argo fans or Ticat fans to come to this one. As Harris stays on his feet and then is finally punished. A couple hits after as Trevor Harris took a pummeling there, but avoided the sack. Or did he? They're going to mark this. They're going to mark this as a loss. So it's the first sack of the ball game.
In the commercial, the Calgary Stampeders got a penalty. Micah Johnson was like he was John with the Argos in the huddle right here. And something he said right at that moment, the flags flew, and he realized it, turned around and went, oh. I guess that was on the do not say list.
Yeah, likely not a nicety. So 2nd and 11, 4-man rush. Harris hangs in and unable to reach up and grab that one.
There's a little bit of
Gurley.
two things going on here. First of all, Trevor Harris, this one sails on him a little bit and gets high, but did Torrey Gurley mistime his jump?
Maybe.
I mean, he's got the out here, and it looked like he almost, that was a little bit behind him too.
Trevor Harris, who's known for his high percentage precision passing at 72%. 6 for 13, has missed his last 4. And again now with the wind and that ball sailing on him. So see how he does as Brown goes down at the 15-yard line. Good kick from Pilardi that time. Well, we are only a couple days away, Mr. Suter. I'm sure you're going to visit the polling station. It all comes down to Monday. CTV News will be there wherever you are, on air, online, on the go. Election 2015. It all starts Monday at 7, 4 Pacific on CTV.
Here we go.
I don't care how you vote out there, folks.
But vote.
Vote.
Yeah, vote. Make sure you get out there and vote. You get the updates from Lisa Laflamme.
You will. And
favorite anchor.
Absolutely. Who's your favorite?
My favorite anchor on TV right there.
I sure she would appreciate that. I think, you know what, she said you're her favorite football commentator. Really?
I like that.
Marquay McDaniel over the top, as we are over the top on that.
Yeah, it almost seems like when Bo Levi Mitchell wants to get back into a rhythm, he goes back to Marquay McDaniel. He just wants to get the chains moving a little bit and keep his offense on the field. He goes to old reliable number 16. Like he got hit awkwardly there too. It's a good thing he got up and is fine.
Again, going over the 1,000-yard mark in this game for the season. 2nd down conversion time. Mitchell looks left and right, then goes. Oh, Eric Rogers dropped the football. That would have been highlight reel material for sure. We're used to Eric Rogers making those catches, by the way.
Yeah, and it would have been a tough one. I'm going to not put this down as a drop, though, Rod. I'm going to put it down as a play made by Travis Hawkins. Hawkins is fighting for the ball with Eric Rogers, and he just keeps ripping it out until it comes out. So that's a DB just working back and keeping that ball live and moving in the arms of Eric Rogers until finally he gets enough of it to pull it out of there. That's a good defensive play.
So Maver will boot this into the wind from near his 15-yard line. It's not Chad Owens back this time. A.J. Jefferson is the returner. Bouncing and finally stepping out of bounds, but good starting position this time for the Argos, and a late penalty flag back at the 38-yard line. Ken Murphy to tell us about this. Looks like it's against the Argos.
Well, you mentioned earlier both these teams locked at the top of their division, so we're seeing the top. Two of the top teams in the league, but if there's one Achilles heel for Toronto.
Major foul, clipping. Toronto, number 29, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
There's one that Scott Milanovich has got to try and clean up down the stretch here, and that's penalties. They're the lowest ranked team in the league. They get the most penalties per game at 13.4. And it seems to be the real bad timing category penalties that are hurting them, and that's another one. Not by Curtis Steele.
Stampeder defense doing some damage today against these Argos. And their offense contributing as well as a rare drop from Tory Gurley. That should have been a completion.
This Argo team is off right now. This first half, they've been off. Some bad penalties at the wrong time. They just can't seem to snap out of it. A high throw in the last series from Trevor Harris. This time a throw right on the money to Tory Gurley. He catches in his sleeve, and he kicks that one out.
They have had a second quarter malaise this season. Minus 49 in differential. Harris pocket closes, and another one. That one thrown behind Deontay Spencer. And the struggles continue for the Argos offense here. Another 2 and out.
Well, this one now, Trevor Harris takes his turn and throws it slightly behind a wide open Deontay Spencer, who turns the corner and gets first down and then some if he just throws it out in front of him. They're just off.
3 straight 2 and out suits.
And you could see the frustration building with Trevor Harris. I mean, when that happens, you go back to fundamentals. Footwork, hips, where am I aiming? You know, focus on the little things.
Velarde puts his leg into it. Brown lets it roll, and again, a fumble football. But it looked like Brown might have been down. Argos say they have it. Brendan Galanders is downfield with the football. But let's see indeed if Tim Brown was down. The whistle did blow.
Tim Brown was down, but was he down on top of an Argo and not down by contact on the field? He gets hit here. Now he gets spun around. I'm not sure if he's down by contact yet because he's on top of another Argo.
The officials say it's Calgary football. No challenge flag. Oh, there is a flag. Yep. A late one as Scott Milanovich had to get the word from upstairs and then also looked at the big screen and threw that late yellow challenge flag.
Part of Tim Brown's body has got, other than his hand, has got to touch the ground here to be down by contact. And I don't think the knees touch the ground at all. Now,
Toronto is challenging the ruling on the field with a player down by contact. We will review the play.
and that's a good challenge by Scott Milanovich, because if Brown is on top of another player, he's not down and that ball can be ripped out. Now, if his knees touch when he spins here, he's down by contact. I don't think that one did.
The left knee might have been.
And I'm not sure if that one did either.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked to me like if maybe the inside of the shin touches down.
Well, he was folded up like a pretzel, as you saw, and that's why he's also on the sideline limping away. Keep in mind that Tim Brown was out of this lineup for a while. They were trying to find a solution to their return woes.
Take a couple more looks, different angles here to see if you can see any part other than the left hand of Tim Brown touching the ground in this spin. His ankles are okay, like his foot and his toe can be down there.
Now the evidence has to be indisputable, conclusive, and really see this angle maybe right here. And
a little bit blocked, but so the Argos recover immediately. And as you mentioned, Rod, it's ruled down by contact again. This one is real close, but that knee for sure does not touch the ground, and I don't think the other one does either.
The issue with this replay and all of the replays is that you can't see where the ball is on the other side of the replay, where the knee is. You can't see.
Once he spins out of it, he's now on top of the Argo.
So Galanders hoping for an affirmative fumble call. Officials wait. Brown gets attended to.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Calgary.
So they're saying that part of that leg actually touched the ground on the spin. Still think it was worth the challenge from Scott Milanovic. Meanwhile, Tim Brown's getting some medical attention.
Time ticking down to the 3-minute warning before halftime. A half dominated by the Calgary Stampeders from the get-go. Interception that led to a touchdown. Argos had a punt return for a touchdown taken back by penalty. Matt Walter on the screen pass. And indeed it is the 3-minute warning. 17-0 is the score. Calgary leads Toronto in Hamilton.
Passing game. Rod, the guys back in the studio getting set for Live at the Half. We'll talk about the contrast in the passing game. Something missing between Trevor Harris and his receivers. Not much at all missing between Bo Levi Mitchell and his. Also the coach with the art of the QB sneak. Let's go back to Rod and Glenn.
All right, thank you, Rod Smith. Look forward to seeing the guys at the half. Lots to talk about on a doubleheader Saturday as we get closer to the postseason in the CFL. And getting a little chilly this time of year as well. It was frost overnight. Southern Ontario getting ripe and ready for the playoffs as Lamar Durant goes right side, only a couple of yards.
Markway McDaniel starting to like Tim Hortons Field. A couple weeks ago, the Calgary Stampeders were here in that wind game. It was about a 60-kilometer wind. And when you combine his catches and yards so far in this one tonight and that game, he's at 11 for 112 and 2 touchdowns.
He's a guy who used to play in Hamilton. He began his career here, first 3 seasons, on this site, not this stadium, of course, Ivor Wynne Stadium. One season was 4 yards shy of the 1,000-yard mark. Has gone over the 1,000-yard mark for the second time in his career earlier today. Chad Owens back to return a kick. Dodging one, juking one way, and 34-yard line is the best he'll get. Just a 4-yard return, 38-yard boot. So the 2-minute offense now for Trevor Harris. The last couple of minutes for Trevor Harris, they've been 2 and out for the most part for the Argos.
6 straight incompletions for Trevor Harris and the Argo offense. And as I mentioned, when it's going like this, and sometimes you fight it. I mean, sometimes you just fight it. The ball is not your friend. And receivers have troubles and quarterbacks missing them, but the way you get back on it is back to fundamentals. And a drive here could go a long way at grabbing some momentum.
He is a guy who is rarely rattled, though. Anthony Coombs, his first catch. Coombs up near the 40-yard line.
There you go, Rod. Now take a look at Trevor Harris's form in the throw here. Middle of your screen. Drops back, steps, and delivers right to the target on time. The form is right there. Ball where it's supposed to be. Launch point over right around the ear, and Coombs gets it right on the 1.
So 2nd and 4. Will the Stamps force another 2 and out? Harris now in trouble, and down he goes. He's sacked by Freddie Bishop. The Stamps do some dancing, and another 2 and out. A Calgary team, though, that's second in the CFL in forcing 2 and outs, have now forced 5 in a row.
Look how wide he gets in his stance and alignment. Freddie Bishop takes his time, weaves inside, and then just chases down Trevor Harris from behind. Now Harris scrambles into the boundary. He ran out of receivers.
Oh my! Pilardi, dangerous. Rolls over the defender, almost blocked it. There's a penalty flag that flew on the far side of the field. Keon Raymond, the returner. Again, Tim Brown nicked up, still being worked on the sideline. Let's see what this penalty's about.
This one might be going against Calgary.
Holding Calgary, number 44. 10-yard penalty applied from where the ball was first caught. First down.
Still Calgary ball. 1:10 to go before halftime. There's a guy who's coming home as well, Bendy Aguilar. Former Vanier Cup champion here in Hamilton with the McMaster Marauders. Aguilar, a second-round pick in 2013 of the Stampeders, getting a lot of playing time this season. Banged up Stampeder team. So the 1-minute offense now for Bo Mitchell. Fires, quick hitter far side, and Joe West hauls it in near the 29-yard line. Second and short yardage now, and they'll bring their offense right to the line and keep this thing going.
Bo Levi Mitchell has almost been forgotten in MOP discussions, hasn't he? He's second in the league in yards coming into this week. Leads the league for all quarterbacks in the deep throws, over 30 yards. I think he's still in my discussion.
I agree with you. By the way, what does Bo Levi Mitchell do more than anything else?
Win.
And he's done that more than anybody the last couple of seasons. In fact, his record to start his career ranks with Hall of Fame material.
Yeah, 26-6. And when you
look at those numbers, those are MLT numbers.
Completion percentage, it's off the hook. I mean, he's still in the discussion for me,
Procedure.
for sure. But
Calgary, number 67, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Look at the names, those suits that Bo Levi Mitchell is with.
Well, he does, and if it's all about winning, and that's what quarterbacks will tell you, and coaches that were former quarterbacks like John Hufnagel, Dave Dickens will say, hey, it's about the win-loss record, and it doesn't get much better than that right there for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Second down, and Mitchell's a good game manager, and that was delivered nicely. West dropped the football, and they'll kick it away, and 42 to go, so the Argos do have a chance to again put some points on the board. You know, one of the reasons Bo Mitchell may be overshadowed though in Calgary, think about as he's come in, John Cornish has been off the charts, and this year Eric Rogers has had a season for the ages.
Well, Eric Rogers is in that discussion as well. I mean, we're going down the stretch. We're going to vote on this in the next few weeks here, and he's got to be in the discussion. Eric Rogers certainly is. He's been over 1,000 yards for some time now. But Henry Burris, who we saw last night, another 370 for him passing and another win.
Maver now, 40 seconds left before the half. And can Chad Owens ignite these Argos? Owens spins, penalty flag down at the 48. Thought he saw an opening there, and 28 to go before halftime. And clearly some adjustments need to be made for the Toronto Argonauts moving forward second half.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
Return, illegal block, Toronto, number 5, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Got to clean that up, first of all. Scott Milanovic got to talk to his team about these penalties that are putting them in holes. They get a good production on first down offensively and get a holding call, take them back. They took a 98-yard kick return off the board by Deontay Spencer and James Yurchuk penalty. So he's got to clean that up. And I'd like to see more Brandon Whitaker. When they get him established, and that could be out of the throwing him the football in the air or just giving him the ball in the run game. He's only had 2 touches in this one so far tonight. And in the last 2 games, he was the player of the game basically for them.
Another clutch receiver they're missing in this ball game. Kevin Elliott not in the lineup, but right now, for one half of football, the Argos are not having a good day at the office. In fact, terrible. Harris has to chuck it away, and lucky he did. And then bounced later.
Well, this starts from the beginning, Rod. I mean, he tried to get everybody lined up right, and you can see Gurley up here. He's got to get on the line of scrimmage to make it a legal formation. So Trevor Harris is trying to get that set up, and so is Chad Owens, and takes his eyes off the snap. It goes through his hands. Micah Johnson puts a hit on him. Wow. They want this 23 seconds to get off the clock so they can go and regroup at halftime, it looks like.
Second and 10. They'll hand it to Whitaker. DeWitt brings it up near the 33-yard line, short of the first down. 18 to go. It will be third down. I'm sure the Argos are going to look at that clock and wonder if they can actually run this down before halftime, and they go talk about this, think about this, and improve on this. And if looks could kill, Scott Milanovic.
Yeah, you can tell he's going to have a few words to say to his team at halftime. They're going to just down this and get out of dodge here, get regrouped at halftime. This may be the worst half I've seen the Argos play all season.
Well, Stampeders are pitching a shutout right now. And really a lot of it has to do with the Toronto Argonauts' inability to move the football. A 0 on the board. 17 for Calgary at the half. Let's send it over to Rod Smith and the boys in the studio.
Thank you, Rod. Certainly not the kind of half that we've become accustomed to from Trevor Harris this season, which overall has been very good, but not good today for the Argos, who are down against Calgary. Back with a panel of Jock Climie and Milt Stegall and Chris Schultz. And really the tempo is set with the second pass made by Trevor Harris, intercepted by Brandon Smith, setting up a quick touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders, and they were off and running. But Schultz, you were observing that something seems out of sync between Harris and his receivers.
I mean, what was going through my mind consistently and constantly with the Toronto Argonauts watching that offense is what is going on? And maybe the people in Calgary are saying, well, maybe we're playing great defense, but not really. This is about Trevor Harris having his worst game as a Toronto Argonaut, his worst game in his career. Now, the defensive back and the receiver are in such a close proximity, you don't throw the football there. That's completely inaccurate. The receiver was over. This one is in the dirt, and he's not getting much help from his receivers. That is a catchable football, but the entire offense right now for the Toronto Argonauts is completely disorganized. They look like they're in their first week of training camp, and Trevor Harris has got to get to the locker room, sit down, relax, almost look at the first half as an education, reassess, and get back into the game. By far, the worst half of football that entire offense has played the entire season.
Well, I'd say, Schultz, this is on Trevor Harris. This isn't about Calgary Stampeders defense, like you said. And you know what? Your offense is going to take cues from you and your quarterback. When you're playing that badly and that out of sorts, that's just pervasive throughout your entire football team. And, his taking time throwing the ball. He can't seem to make decisions. His quick decision-making is what almost always is his strong suit. So now what does Scott Milanovic think about this at halftime? Because you pull him. I think they should pull him at this point. Wow. But then what are the considerations? Do you let him work through that? Because that'd be a good learning experience. But yet, we're trying to finish first in the East if you're a Toronto Argos. So do you go with Adrian McPherson, who is an experienced guy who needs reps? Or do you get Ricky Ray out there and finally get him some reps, even though he might not be 100%? This is what Scott Milanovic is thinking about right now, but it's time to get Harris out of the game, in my opinion.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if, they went to Ray at some point in time, maybe not this game, but if Trevor Harris had another game like this where he did struggle. His number 7 for 16, 66 yards. By contrast, Bo Levi Mitchell, 13 of 16, 146, and a touchdown pass, and just rolling right along with his receivers.
Yeah, just a typical Bo Levi Mitchell half, and he does this just about every game. But I think because he does it every game, he's so consistent, we kind of take it for granted. But each and every game, he's showing up big, and he's somewhat forming a connection with one receiver, and that's Marquay McDaniel. And Marquay McDaniel doesn't stand out because for a while, all the receivers were short and quick, and now they're involved into that tall, big receiver. He's none of that. But what he is he's reliable, he's tough, he's smart, he's consistent, and he's a playmaker. They can depend on him whenever they need to play. When they need to play to go downfield, when they need that tough block, when they need that tough second down catch, he can do it all. And I know Eric Rodgers is their number one guy, but Marquay McDaniel is that 1A guy. With those first half yards, 62 yards, he's the third receiver to go over 1,000 yards. Congratulations. And he's not only an underrated receiver, he's one of the best receivers in the CFL.
I was just going to ask you that because Glenn Suter mentioned that in the broadcast about, hey, is it time to stop talking about him as an underrated receiver? What makes him underrated? I mean, I would say it's his demeanor on the football field.
Yes.
He's not a dancer like Milt Stegall, who brought a lot of attention to himself in his playing days, right? And I always believe that if you're understated on the field, people sometimes forget about you and consider you underrated.
Very true.
We're overrated because of all that dancing you do.
I am underrated, Dan, because I'm understated.
Hey, Schultz,
Producer Tony, how much time do we have
knows
left?
anything about me.
How much time do we have left?
All O-linemen are understated and underrated. That's by your very nature.
got a lot of TV attention because he was always holding.
That's
what was your number? 67 on the hold?
Find something original.
But that's all you did.
Original.
Hey,
That's all you did, Schultz.
Producer Tony says, hey, it's time to go. Whether it's 85 or 16, both get the job done, just with different styles. Right?
We can't hold on for Schultz anymore? We can't hold on for Schultz?
Couple of touchdowns on the board for the Calgary Stampeders, and they have the lead by 17. We're going to talk about this, too. Quarterback keepers coming out. In Hamilton, and the Argos are down 17 to Calgary. Here's Milk with the stats.
Well, thanks, Rod. And I know Jock suggested that maybe Trevor Harris should sit down. I disagree. I know he had some drop by some receivers, and I also think they need to establish the running game. Once again, Bo Levi Mitchell is lighting it up, as he always does in the first half.
Toronto Argos, maybe it's something about Hamilton. The last time they trailed in a game like this, 27-1 Labor Day in Hamilton against the Ticats. In Hamilton today, they trail the Calgary Stampeders 17-0. Not a good first half of football, as everybody's talked about, for Trevor Harris.
No, he struggled in a big way, and it wasn't just him. There were some penalties. I mean, that was a poor choice, as Chris Schultz mentioned at halftime. But missed some receivers that were open, and then had open receivers who also put some on the ground for him. And his coach, Scott Milanovic, got up in his kitchen and was letting him know that it's not acceptable. I think, you know, Jock Climbing mentioned that he'd pull him right now. I think you're going to see him in another series now.
Short leash, though, perhaps.
Perhaps. And Ray was warming up and throwing a little bit, but he's still
strapped up.
Yeah, but he still has the jacket on. And Ricky Ray is available. Jim Barker told me before the game that if something happened to Trevor Harris, if he got nicked, it would be Ray that would go in. So he's available to play. But I think you're going to see Scott Milanovic let Trevor Harris go out there and try and snap out of this.
Again, unforeseen circumstances early on for the Argos. Again, their offense did not get going, but they also had a punt return that was returned because of penalty. A touchdown that taken back, and also an interception early on. Deontay Spencer tackled near the 27-yard line. There is a penalty flag back at the 40-yard line. It was the area where they kicked the football.
It was offside. They might have to do it again.
So we'll see how this plays out here in the second half.
Calgary, number 34 on the kickoff. It's a 5-yard penalty for a re-kick.
Torrey Harrison, they're going to re-kick this.
From the Argos' perspective, you want them to re-kick this, get lined up and kick it again while they're still breathing hard, that cover team, the Calgary cover team.
Calgary Stampeder team that is in a battle in the West, as the Argos are in the East for first place. 2 11-win teams coming into Week 17. Eskimos playing later after this one against the BC Lions. Stamps trying to hold serve here. A team that has not lost 2 in a row in a span of 66 straight games, losing last week against the Eskimos.
July 12, 2012. Wow. The last time that happened.
Speaks to their dominance. Now let's see if the Argos will get some positive yardage here, as Spencer goes backwards, and that did not work out. They had better field position before the penalty. So Harris always takes those last second warm-up tosses. He needs to get his pass game clicking.
7 of 17 for 66 yards and an interception, 41%, nowhere near his league-high completion percentage. Whitaker just 3 touches. So that's the start. Start with Whitaker, build the offense from there, eliminate the penalties.
Had a few dropped footballs as well, as receivers didn't help him out. Maybe they'll try to use some bubble screens as well. They go far side, quick hitter, and Torrey Gurley is on his feet and then falls down, slips on the far sideline, but it's a first down, and there's a spark out of the locker room for the Argos. First play, first down.
Quick up, Torrey Gurley. Pretty high percentage throw with Tavon Campbell playing that far off. He was about 12 yards off the receiver there.
Coombs in motion with Chad Owens. Looks for Owens, and again another ball that's thrown behind Chad Owens, and just off that rhythm, off his precision, which Trevor Harris is known for, throwing through very tight windows.
Well, this is where Owens, I'll show you where Owens has got to get the football right now. That's where it's got to come, in his hand. See the extra 2 steps into the middle, and now the ball's behind him.
Trying to recalibrate here is Harris.
Wow, a little bit of frustration from the veteran.
2nd and 10. Here comes the heat again. Harris is going down. Penalty flag, likely a holding call here. Charleston Hughes with the initial contact.
That'll be declined, and Calgary will take the play and get the ball back.
Holding, Toronto, number 57. Penalties declined. Excuse me. 3rd down.
Charleston Hughes up at the top. He's going to go inside there on Tyler Holmes, and Holmes gets the holding call. Decline the penalty, and once again the Argonauts are off the field offensively quickly.
10th sack of the season for Hughes. Jamal Westerman from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers has an even dozen. Oh, loose football. Could be the Argos. And if they needed a break, they got one right there. Matt Black pounced on it. And the Stampeder team that is without Tim Brown right now. Anthony Parker takes it off the shoulder pad, and the Argos have recovered the football.
Black gets there and just scoops it, and you're right, Rod. I mean, you never know where the spark might come from, and it may come on the special teams. A big turnover, giving your quarterback real good field position in the score zone. Let's see if Trevor Harris can take a little of that momentum and translate it into some first downs here.
This is the furthest they've been downfield, the Toronto Argos, in this ballgame, to the 30, thanks to a turnover. Play action to Whitaker. Here's the rush again. Freddie Bishop missed. Harris chucks. Caught by Spencer near sideline. Down inside the red zone. Close to the end zone. At the 7-yard line, the Argos will go 1st and goal.
You know, we've seen at times Trevor Harris throw the odd interception. We've seen him go through some peaks and valleys, and he's always fought his way out of it. Maybe that fumble recovery has now got him into that fight mode again, because he made the move to buy himself some time. Back shoulder throw on the sideline, the accuracy there. Glenn Love needed a ball call, but Deontay Spencer comes up with it.
Argos number 1 in the CFL in the red zone. Harris looks end zone for Spencer. Great coverage right there.
Yeah, Jamar Wall was step for step. I mean, this was, it looked to me like Spencer on this corner route had it, but Wall closes, and then he shoots that left arm out on a blind turn. That's a blind turn by a DB. He bit on the post route, blind turn back to the corner, and got the left hand in there.
Down 17, early 3rd quarter. The Argos trying to find the end zone. Some points off a turnover. They try it again. Jump ball for Gurley. Did he make that catch? Yes, he did. It's a touchdown. Oh, my. Ridiculous catch from Torrey Gurley. Chad Owens, you may have some company here.
Not sure if it was the one-hand stab, but it was a beauty as he lays out down the left corner of your screen. Looked like their feet got tangled, and on the way down, Gurley hangs on, gets the arms underneath it.
To get the arms underneath and not trap this football. Let's see, we'll get a good look here. Whoa, very close. This is outstanding concentration. His arm, his hand was underneath the football. It looked like it bounced off that gloved hand.
Yeah, and the forearm as well. The ball right around the
previous scoring
there.
play is under review by the command center.
That is so hard to see. They'll look at every scoring play at the command center. Argos have lined up for the point after. Kim Murphy awaits word if this is a catch.
You're going to take a good long look at this. There's a different angle you haven't seen yet. See if that ball underneath him anywhere touches the ground. He had the left arm underneath the football.
There was a little bit of a bounce or a pop-up of the football, but
right there, you're wondering if that was the tip of the football or is that his elbow?
Was his hand underneath there as well? It's so hard to see. And again, the evidence has to be absolutely conclusive. The call on the field is touchdown.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's some...
That's all I do. I'm touchdown, mate.
Sure, there's some Calgary fans in their big HD 55-inch screens that are saying, I think I saw that bounce.
Touchdown maker, Tory Gurley.
Well, what made it such a great catch, Rod, is he's going down. He was tripped up there a little bit and was on his way down.
All right, in high definition, here it comes one more time.
Enhanced it. We blew it up for you a little bit. Now the arm.
I think it bounced off his arm.
Bounces off the arm there. Does it twist and touch after this play, though?
There. See that right there?
You have to see it, though. You can't assume it's touching the ground if you don't see it.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what. That right there is...
Now, I'm wondering about this one.
Zapruder-like. I'm telling you, that is...
Back and to the left?
I don't know. But again, you have to have... It's almost like the baseball game where the player's foot is off the bag at second base. Can you exactly determine if that ball hit the turf and it wasn't touching part of that arm?
That's what I mean. The command center, and I've talked to Glenn Johnson, the head of officiating, about this. The command center will not assume by the angle of the ball or something like that that it had to have touched by the way the ball looks or something like that. They're not going to make that assumption. They will either see it clearly touch or not, and that's how they make the ruling. But this has taken a long time, so you can tell how close this one is.
Tory Gurley continues to look up at that big screen as well, and maybe even in the back of his mind, he's wondering if he indeed made this catch.
Now you have to see the ball hit the turf. Do you see the ball hit the turf? Right there, possibly. That's an enhanced look from the other angle.
All right, go on a limb there, Suter. Let's go. What are you calling? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? If you're in command center right now, what are you thinking?
You know, I honestly think the tip of the football touched the turf from that behind shot. But I'm not sure we can see it. I mean, it looks like it had to have by that angle. But again,
after review, it's been determined by the command center that the ruling on the field stands. It's a touchdown.
That's what I mean.
That's what he told y'all.
It's a catch. That's what it's a touchdown.
It looked like the ball should have been touching the turf by the angle it was on there. But you can't make that assumption. You got to see it, and they didn't see it.
They can't hold that dog down.
That's up there. Top 10 catches of the year, I think, from Tory Gurley. That is a big one as it stands, and the fumble recovery, 7 points off a huge turnover. Tory Gurley's 10th touchdown of the season. And the Argos are on the board finally. Down 10, down the road in Hamilton. Wow.
Go back to the route by Tory Gurley, just a straight fade route, and it's going to be right here. The ball thrown to the outside shoulder. He pivots to it and then gets tripped up by Tavon Campbell. Going down, comes up with the catch.
Rookie Canadian cornerback Tory Gurley.
That's 10.
That's 10. It's on top. And Stampeders after that fumble by Anthony Parker. There he is, holding that football tighter than ever. And we have received word from Matt Shinetti on the sideline that Tim Brown will not be back, so Anthony Parker and perhaps a return unit by committee will handle the load the rest of the way. It's really been a concern. If there's any real blemish to the Stampeders, again, they're 11-4. It's been their return game this season. And the fact they've also given up 5 returns for touchdown.
Yeah, I was going to say their cover teams have been a bit of an issue as well, but
so now Bo Mitchell looking to answer. Sun casting some shadows on the far side of the field. Wind has died down considerably. Argos, deferring to the second half, will go with the wind in the third quarter. Bo Mitchell just throws it out of bounds.
Just had one receiver over there. It was Joe West on the play action. Didn't really work the way they wanted to, although he did get the edge. Eric Rogers has got the post route, but Bo Levi Mitchell is rolling away from Rogers, and Rogers is waving, I am wide open. I'm gone. Of course, receivers always think that. Rogers was in that case, but they always think that.
He's only had 1 catch in the ball game. They need to get him going too. Mitchell's looking there, steps up now, goes the other way, decides to tuck it and take it. Stepping out of bounds on the far sideline.
One play on the turnover.
Crazy.
The kick. Matt Black comes up with that fumble recovery. Trevor Harris is in the end zone a couple of plays later. Big catch by Gurley, and then a 2-and-out. All of a sudden, Old Mo just moved and was wearing double blue.
Yeah. A place where they haven't had a lot of momentum here in Hamilton. Again, here at Tim Hortons Field today, playing a home game. Argo team that has been out of a home, booted out of the Rogers Center most of the season. Next year, BMO Field. Chad Owens is back at his 42. Maver, as they look to block that. Maver now, line drive to Owens, dancing. Picking his way forward. Rob Cote brings him down near the 47, a 44-yard boot. Torrey Gurley has helped change the game with a catch you'll see on SportsCenter tonight. Torrey Gurley may have had a premonition. This was after the fumble recovery with Scott Milanovich. Said, let's go, let's go. He did.
Right now. And what happens? He gets his receiver pumped up, and his receiver makes a spectacular catch in the corner of the end zone.
So the Argo offense capitalizing on the turnover, down 10. Finally ignited. Chad Owens over the top, will be very close to a first down. Looks like 9 yards, and Torrey Gurley has also moved on top of the touchdown race. Gets to double digits.
By himself now. Edmonton's Kenny Stafford plays after this game. Kevin Elliott out of the lineup for personal reasons.
And they all count, but these guys all count those touchdowns. They know what they know where they are.
They've created a competition among themselves in practice.
Adrian McPherson, backup quarterback, third-string quarterback, in fact. Short yardage guy comes in, former Alouette, plunges forward, gets the first down. Chess match continuing here, and this Calgary defense did such a good job in that first half. And a lot of the credit, as always, goes to the guy they call the mad scientist.
Yeah, he can mix it up. I mean, he throws a lot in that cauldron and then just stirs it up and see what will come out of it. I mean, Jerome Mayo's done such a nice job replacing Juwan Simpson in the middle.
Rick Stubler, the defensive coordinator, at one time the head coach of the Argos. A little turn, delayed draw for Anthony Coombs, who's in the backfield. Position he played in CIS football at times with the Manitoba Bisons. 5-yard gain.
You know, his defense is unique. He runs a lot, some match coverage, which is sort of half and half zone, depending on what the receivers do. He can rotate and sometimes just play some zone, be patient on teams, and he doesn't worry about sending pressure at times as well. Sack from Brandon Smith this year, so it'll come from the secondary.
2nd and 5. Harris hangs in again, and sideline for Spencer. High steps down near the 32-yard line. Another big play again for the Argos. Whatever was said in that Argo locker room, which is not really an Argo locker room, by the way, it's a visitor's locker room, even though they're the home team, if you can figure that out, it's working.
Assist right here to Chad Owens. The ball will be caught on the outside to Deontay Spencer, but Chad Owens right here, see, he sits and he holds the coverage. When he holds the coverage in there, Spencer's opened up on the sideline, just sort of fly and die there.
Trying to get close to that red zone inside the 20 where they're Dynamite actually going now for the corner, and that was another errant toss for Chad Owens. Down and out. That was more out of bounds.
Well, you could see that Scott Milenovich was fired up when he got Torrey Gurley going, and then he catches the touchdown. So part of it was the halftime speech. I think part of it was just the play. Play made by Matt Black on the fumble recovery on the kick. And it's been Argonauts since then, yeah.
They've sprung to life here in this third quarter. Trying to get a grip on first place in the East. Chad Owens now as Deron Mayo chases him down and rips him down at the 25-yard line. He's going to be about 3 yards short of a first down.
Sometimes that strategy, especially for a guy like Chad Owens, works well, where he puts the brakes on and he hopes the tackler that's chasing him will fly right by him.
What a play by Mayo.
And Mayo doesn't let it happen. If Owens this time just tries to keep in the same direction as he's running towards that sideline, here he comes right in your screen. If he keeps going, he might turn the corner, but he tries to put the brake on, hoping that Mayo will go by him. And
look at this, the Argos, third down and about 3, long 3, are going for it here. Down 10 with plenty of time left in this game. Harris batted, look out. It's picked off by Glenn Love, who laterals it over to Josh Bell.
That's an interesting call.
One they're going to talk about now. There's a penalty flag back at the 30-yard line. We'll see what this is about. Love makes the pick, laterals it over to Bell. The ball was batted at the line of scrimmage. It looks like it's going to be Calgary ball.
We have clipping, major foul, Calgary, number 32. 15-yard penalty from the point the ball was held, first down.
Well, Scott Milenovich wanted to keep the momentum going, but it gets snuffed out by the Stamps. Batted up. Picked off. Yep. Time to check in with our sack tally, brought to you by Purolator. Tackling hunger, a promise we can all help deliver.
3 for Calgary. They take the lead over Toronto and then just follow Ottawa. Freddie Bishop has one, so does Charleston Hughes. So they're at 10 on the season apiece. 20 between the two bookends for the Calgary Stampeders.
Raw motion on that sideline. We apologize for that shot we had on the sideline earlier, but that happens in the middle of a ball game at times.
You know, interesting decision by Scott Milenovich, and you know, it's one thing to, because it didn't work, say you should have taken the points. I think you would have taken the points. I would have taken the points, yes, but I've seen him do this before, and he tries to inject life into his team, give them confidence, get fired up, and say, guys, I trust you, let's go get it. And I've seen him do it. This time it could backfire if Bo puts together a drive here.
Again, they had a lot of momentum. Seized right back by Calgary. Mitchell has tons of time, and over the top, Eric Rogers has his second catch, and it's the biggest offensive play of the game for the Stampeders. Down to the Toronto 35-yard line, a 49-yard romp. Eric Rogers, who is Mr. Yak yards as well, sprints out, puts them into instant scoring position.
Toronto is trying to get Greg Jones underneath this throw, but it's just too far for the big middle linebacker to get to. Double layer in routes or post routes there. Mark McDaniel a little shallower than Eric Rogers. He's over the top. The timing and the throw, bang on.
Great protection again for Bo Mitchell. Now Joe West finds a seam, another first down near the 20-yard line.
And again, this is where, you know, the decision can backfire on you. And again, if it's an aggressive move and you say, hey, I like what Scott Milenovich did, he was going for it, he was having confidence in his team, they got a little bit of a roll going, you don't get it, the heads kind of drop, and the other team gets a little bit of life, a little spark. And now Bo Levi Mitchell's taken full advantage of it so far.
Sends out 6 receivers. Quick one again. Once again for West. And it looks like they will move the sticks once more. Let's see where the... No, it's only half the first down yardage. So it's down near the 16-yard line for Bo Levi Mitchell in the Stampeder offense.
Last 2 downs, Tristan Okalahugo, their leading sacker, was not in the lineup. He just ran on the field. So he's back in there at that rush end position.
Stampeders protecting Bo Levi Mitchell once again. The Argos have had a sackless game. Rolling out, now goes, corner route, jump ball, and Wasiwansu Ansah was in the vicinity, but would have to leap for that one, so it'll be 3rd down and 5.
Now that one out there to Joe West, and take a look at the coverage. Wansu Ansah up on the top had deep coverage. He looked at Eric Rogers briefly, kind of held that position, and then got up over the top quickly.
So the Stamps look to pile on 3 points after that interception. And a great response to that Argo touchdown. The Argos declined going for a field goal, decided to go for it. Costly. Stamps put 3 more on the board and lead by 13.
Beautiful throw and catch. A 49-yarder to Eric Rogers adds to his totals, the league's leading receiver.
Number 1 in so many categories. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood full of big numbers this season. With more, let's go down to Matt Shinetti.
Absolutely, Rod. The 49-yard catch just adds to the resume that Rogers is building, and it's becoming maybe an MOP resume. We asked him before the game if he's hearing the chatter, and he smiled and said, my teammates are starting to let me know what's being said in the press, but really, for me, I just want to be boring. I don't really care about the awards. I just want more yards, just be boring and have more yards. And we asked Dave Dickinson about that, and he smirked and said, yeah, that's just the way Rogers is. He just wants the receptions, just wants the touchdowns, but doesn't really care about the spotlight. But if I had a vote, Dickinson said, it'd be my MOP. Guys?
Eric Rogers, you're not boring, man. He has become a sensation this year as Jared Zaleski.
You know, he did it in school too. It's Cal Lutheran and holds the record there for TDs with 41 season yards and receptions, and you know, he had a touchdown in his senior year in every single game but one. So he got off what was a bit of a slump in the touchdown department last week against Edmonton with a touchdown, and he's added to his totals in yards here tonight.
Harris now steps up, pitches it out to Brandon Whitaker. Whitaker's straight arm has a first down. And an offense on the move again.
Yeah, no, you know, it may be just respect for Duron Mayo and Glenn Love and the guys up front, Charleston Hughes, Micah Johnson, Junior Turner, and Freddie Bishop, that the Argos haven't gone much to Brandon Whitaker. I mean, it just may be the fact that Rich Stubler's defense is taking away Whitaker right now by alignment, and they're looking elsewhere, but well, he's an important part of that offense.
Whitaker in the pistol now with Harris. Harris now looks one way and another, and Duron Mayo tracks him down and pounds him into the turf. But again, close to the first down. It'll be shy of the 45-yard line. That's where the marker is. Trevor Harris deciding to go.
I'm going to show you what Whitaker does here. He goes in the play action, then he escapes here and goes out in the route, and it looked like
illegal contact on a receiver. Calgary, number 31, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Penalty on the play. We'll move it anyway.
Lots of space out there for Whitaker.
And he got that football to him?
Exactly.
He was gonzo.
Illegal contact, first down for Toronto, and that one on Brandon McDonald.
Released by the Ottawa Red Blacks, finds a home in Calgary, and they needed him. Losing their 2 corners. There goes B-Witt again. Whitaker reverses field. Only his 5th touch in the ball game.
But see, that play didn't have a chance. I mean, you know, the Calgary Stampeders defensively took away that play, and Whitaker picks up almost 5 yards on his own.
Those are not numbers we normally associate with Brandon Whitaker.
Last week, Montreal 99 yards rushing on 17 carries. Second best game of the season. So he was hot in the last 2 weeks for the Argos. So that is a surprise. But again, it's a good defense.
Now it'll be 2nd down and 6. Likely a throwing down again for Trevor Harris. Inauspicious start in the first half. Nowhere near his percentage. Trying to keep this drive alive, and the catch is made by Hazelton on the near sideline. A clutch catch. Harris finds him.
Yeah, he was. Vidal Hazelton has to look through the possibility of Brandon Smith getting his 2nd pick, and the timing just right for the Argos, because Brandon Smith cut underneath that throw and just missed the football. And oftentimes that will distract a receiver enough that he'll drop it. Not that time.
Again, the Argos getting close to that 20-yard line. Their magic number 1 in the league. Inside the 20. Harris has to step up and go again. Shoestring tackle once again. Micah Johnson brings him down. Another throwing down coming. Another 2nd down conversion coming for the Argos.
Nice pickup here by Brandon Whitaker on Glenn Love, but pressure coming late.
Last time in this area, again, they went for it on 3rd down. This is 2nd down, and did not get those 3 points they could have had, and we'll see how that figures into this ball game. Right now, they need a 1st down on 2nd and 8. Final play, and Harris sidesteps a tackle and is in trouble and has to throw it, and that was a dangerous pass. Deontay Spencer, that could have been picked off, and Spencer took a wicked lick. Last play, 3rd quarter. It'll be 3rd down again. This time I'm sure the Argos are going to take the points. They got some points off of a turnover. Key one. Their only points of the ball game so far. Calgary leads 20-7 heading to the 4th in Hamilton. It is a game of numbers, they say, as we welcome you back to Tim Hortons Field. The big number, Calgary 20-7 over Toronto. Right now, points off turnover is a factor in this ball game. The bigger number right now is the Calgary Stampeders are 9-0 this season when they lead after 3 quarters. Can they do it again?
Bo Levi Mitchell didn't have the football near as much in that 3rd quarter as he did in opportunities in the first half. He was 13 of 17 in the first half and just 4 of 6 in that 3rd quarter. So he's got to get some more shots at it and get on the field and then stay there to get back into that groove he was in the first half. But credit the Argos, they bounced back after what was Chris Schultz's opinion. What was his? That was the worst half of football the Argos have played.
It might have rivaled Labor Day when they were down 27-1 against the Cats. Justin Pilardi. And again, we're going to go back to it. That decision to not take the points. Could be a 20-13 game right now, but there still is plenty of time left in this one. And the Toronto Argonauts also know that they are a 4th quarter ball club.
Yeah, this is where they're great, and this is where Scott Milanovich will have made the adjustments. He'll have talked to his quarterback and Trevor Harris throughout this entire game, and that's why they have that big 4th quarter. 138 points. That's most in the CFL in the 4th quarter because they make the appropriate adjustments and they put some points on the board.
Justin Pilardi, who signed by the Argos, was actually coaching Bantam football in Truro, Nova Scotia. He's found a job here, and there's Eric Rogers once again. This is a guy, Suits, you talked about. All he does is score. 44 to 45 games in college, what you said.
Yeah.
27 touchdowns in 9 games in the Arena League. 27 touchdowns in 9 games.
He knows the end zone.
He does.
It's his neighborhood.
Well, that's been said a few times. 2 TDs in the West Final last year.
Just he's the entire package. He's got that smooth route running ability where when he comes off the line, a defensive back will look at him and not really even think he's moving. I mean, you're in your back pedal as a DB on Eric Rogers. You think, well, he's not moving. He's just gliding at me, and then bam, he's gone by. He can also double move you. He's got some shape.
And Walters.
And then, maybe most importantly, and this is why he's accumulated all those touchdowns throughout his football career, Eric Rogers wins more of the one-on-one battle when the ball arrives than he loses.
Hence, an MOP candidate this season. The guy they are talking about, 8 touchdowns this year, had 2 in 2 regular season games last year. He's almost a tag a guy, touchdown a game guy.
Leading receiver in the Grey Cup.
Out of home, north of the border. Bo Mitchell, 2nd and 9, is going down. Opalaugo brings him down.
He gets number 10.
Tristan O with the Argos' first sack of the ball game here in the 4th quarter. Could be a crucial one.
You get those 2 in the 4-point stance. Opalaugo and Cleon Lang. And Milstein talked about Cleon Lang. So he gets the push, takes 2 with him. Opalaugo cuts underneath, and he gets there.
Yeah, we might be tied at 9.
See, they keep count. They keep count. They know that the competition exists around the CFL as Chad Owens meets head on with Charlie Power downfield quickly. Powers him down.
Let's go. Lay Kane.
Opalaugo.
Lay Mom.
Big sack.
Let's roll.
Toronto, number 75.
Rod Black, Glenn Suter, Matt Shinetti, our entire crew here in Hamilton. Relocated game for the Argos. This bizarre season.
Another penalty on the return team for the Toronto Argonauts puts Trevor Harris in a hole.
Long field again for the Argos. 4-man rush. Harris. Oh, Junior Turner just dusted him. Big sack for the Stamps again.
Unbelievable swim move by Junior Turner in the middle. And he's working on keeping right in the middle of your screen on the center. Jeff Keeping, swim that left arm up over the top and down Main Street. No chance for Trevor Harris. This is just a great move. Chris Schultz in the studio just winced.
3rd sack of the season for Turner. Back home here near Toronto. Chad Owens has the first down, and the Argos are able to get out of a hole here. Actually looks like he's short of the first down.
After that last pass rush by Junior Turner, look what happens here. You're going to get a little help out of Wayne Smith. He's going to see that he's got no guy in front of him, so he comes down and chips on Turner to give Jeff Keeping, his center, a little bit of help and keep him out of that backfield. Trevor Harris a chance to get it out of there. But the penalty started the problems for the Argos here.
And again, there is still a little breeze, but Pilardi with a pretty good kick. Good field position here for Torrey Harrison and the Stamps. Harrison. James Yurichuk tackles him at the 40. 13-yard return on a 42-yard kick. Bo Levi Mitchell. And he leads the Stamps to their 12th win of the season. 11 minutes to go in Hamilton. Wearing the pink. Under 11 to go here, Calgary. Delayed draw, Torrey Harrison. Big run, almost lost the football. Greg Jones with the tackle close to a first down for Harrison.
Yeah, he snuck through there. There was a small crease, and he got there. Like that pocket kind of collapsed around it. It was going to even take away this draw.
Was a penalty on the play, waiting for the call.
Indication from the Calgary huddle is
objection of conduct. Toronto, number 19. 10-yard penalty, first down, Calgary.
Devin Smith will give Calgary even better field position.
And it's official. Penalties have been an issue for Scott Milanovich's team tonight.
Again, as Glenn mentioned earlier, last in the CFL, penalties per game, way too many. Something they'll have to shore up. Opalugo shouting out the signal on the line for the Argos. 1st and 10 Stamps. Keep it on the ground again, and Harrison makes it so much easier on 2nd down when someone does that. Usually it's a guy named John Cornish, not in the ball game today. Corey Harrison's helped out.
Sometimes, Rod, it's penalties, overall yards that you're penalized. That is the problem, and you just get too many of them, and the yards are adding up and giving the other team too much field position advantage. Sometimes it's the timing of the penalties. I think that's been the problem for Toronto. It's not necessarily been the amount, it's been the timing. And Toronto only has 55 yards and 5 penalties, but one of those penalties took a 98-yard touchdown off the board.
Mitchell. Again, this Torrey Harrison drive. What a move to the pylon. It's a touchdown. Torrey Harrison dominates this drive. Punches it into the end zone.
Boy, he puts a nice move on Thomas Miles in the open field. Bo gives him a chance to turn around, gets the ball to him on time, turn around early, and it looked like Thomas Miles thought he'd just run him out of bounds. And this is where Harrison puts the brakes on and lets the linebacker fly right by. You just see Top Gun, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Maverick.
Throw the brakes on and let him fly right by.
That was one of those whoop. Torrey Harrison. Big touchdown.
I hear you, Goose.
And now again a one-point convert. Rene Paredes.
Keon Reed was showing him the move on Madden football. This is left switch, right switch, left switch. That was that move.
Well, the last time we may have seen a move like that was probably on a video game. Here it is. Now you see him. Whoop. Now you don't. Touchdown. Alouettes and Hamilton Tiger Cats, who their locker room wasn't used this week, but their house is being used for this game. Torrey Harrison's 5th touchdown of the season. One he will remember for sure. Sidestep. So the Argos have work to do here, down 27-10. Have to score in a hurry. Their first half is going to come back to haunt them here. Down 17 at the half.
Well, that number in the corner there, that's the enemy now for Toronto, as they have to try and be efficient with the clock in and out of the huddle here and get back in this one.
17 of 32 for a guy who normally throws 72%. There's the rush again. And wisely, Owen steps out of bounds, is more pushed out of bounds by
a couple weeks ago.
Smith.
A couple weeks ago, Rod, there 3 or 4 weeks ago, there were a lot of talk about when Ricky Ray returns, what does Scott Milanovich do? And you know, he at that time wasn't ready, but there was the speculation and the talk about the guy going straight into the Hall of Fame. When he's ready and physically ready and able to play, do they just take Harris out?
Well, it makes for interesting discussion as Anthony Coombs hauls it in, because technically if Ricky Ray was really ready and the time to go, and maybe, you know, you're down 17, a lot of coaches would go, hey, maybe we need a change.
Well, I don't think that they were going to make a change until Trevor Harris started to have some issues, and he hadn't up until this point. Now the question is, does it mean that the race is closer right now, all of a sudden?
Hazelton. Oh, look at, again, Trevor Harris then comes out gunning. One thing about Trevor Harris, and chatting with him yesterday, he talks about the commandments he has in football that were given to him by his father, who was a coach, Tom, growing up in Waldo, Ohio, and then he went to Edinburgh University. Said one of the things his dad taught him, don't lay on the field. And that could mean many different things, but he said, don't leave your emotions on the field. Come back fighting. Don't. Right. Never.
And he does that. And, he's shown that resilience, and he's shown that ability to bounce back and come back from a bad game, come back from an interception, and come right back in and sling it and get the team moving again. And he's starting to do that right now. But you just wonder if now the discussion starts to get fired up a little bit more, because Jim Barker told me before the game, Ray's ready to play.
Well, that's a big contract as well, and he is a guy who has been there and done that. Look at Harris, though, and a penalty flag is thrown. Trevor Harris trying to make something out of nothing. Looked like he was going down. Penalty in the backfield.
Ray's last game, by the way, November 2nd, 2014. Last time he was on the field, and
when he first came back, he did not look like he was ready to go, and he admitted that.
Toronto,
the arm wasn't ready.
Penalties decline, second down.
But there was a reason the Argos went out and got Ricky Ray, and you know what the reason was? They could win a Grey Cup, and guess what they did?
Yeah, they did in 2012. Now, I'm not pulling Trevor Harris.
No.
And in fact, no matter how this game ends, go back to him again. He's earned that right. But I think the conversation becomes more interesting now if this continues.
Well, Harris trying to lead his team back again. Quick hitter, Chad Owens has to go backwards, and big collision there at the line of scrimmage with Keon Raymond, who tracked down number 2.
Scott Milanovic just waved off the punt team that was trying to make its way on the field, and
third down time.
He's going 3-down football here on in. Try and come back in this game.
Well, if the Argos are unable to come back, they fall to 9-6. Again, 3 teams with 9 wins in the East. Here it is. They have to get a first down. And Brandon Whitaker just might. Look at this play from Whitaker. Maybe a game saver here for the Toronto Argos.
Well, first of all, what a catch from Whitaker, because he had Keon Raymond breaking towards him in a hurry and looked like he was going to put the big hit on an exposed running back out of the backfield. He catches it with the one hand, lowers his shoulder, and breaks the tackle.
Harris now looks for Torrey Gurley's side. Jump ball, touchdown! It's out of his hands. Thought for a moment for sure that Gurley had it. Tavon Campbell in his first start on the corner.
He's hanging in there, and he has made a play here. I mean, this is a fight with Torrey Gurley. It's 6'4", 230. Looked like Gurley had it, and he did, and he had him on the jump, and he kept fighting as he went down and ripped it out.
Take a look as Gurley goes down, and that ball swatted away by the Rook. Again, a guy who was just drafted. Oleg.
Take a bow.
Well, this drive not over, though. Don't be surprised if Harris goes back to Gurley. He's looking over the top now. Crossing pattern for Chad Owens, who's chopped down. Jeff Hecht brings down Chad Owens, who is still down on the turf and hurt and not getting up. Right around the knee area. Former St. Mary's product got Chad Owens. And he is in considerable pain.
Crossing route, low tackle.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Looking at that right leg. Scott Shannon and the Argos medical staff. Heck, the former Alouette, now Stampeder. Something you hate to see, especially around one of the superstars of the game.
Yeah, Scott Milanovic going to come right out and get over there to talk to Chad. He's trying to put a little weight on it, but these are the ones you cross your fingers and just hope that it looked worse than it is. That's a good sign there, even though he's being very careful.
Jeff Heck comes over, offer his best wishes. Here's one of the toughest guys.
Oh yeah,
for his size.
Well, he did the ultimate fighting thing and all that.
Pound for pound.
Yeah,
Look at the face.
It's a competitor through and through, every fiber in the being.
So they're going to take the points here. We'll make it a 2-possession game. 4.5 to go. Pilardi puts it up and puts it through. Long way to go still for the Argos. Losing this game and may have just lost Chad Owens as well. Try to get an update from the sideline. Right after this one, BC Lions, Edmonton Eskimos from the Commonwealth as the Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues.
How about Manny Arsenault on the roll he's been on? Over 100 yards in the first half. Game they lost, ended up losing to Winnipeg. Big first half for Jonathan Jennings there.
How about the consequences of all these games coming down the stretch?
Absolutely. That's a big one too. Edmonton trying to win the division. BC trying to get in the show, get in the playoffs.
Harrison, what a game he's had. Last year, the Eastern teams kind of stumbled to the finish line, and battles continued in the West. But really, it could come down to the final game of this season to decide who's going in what position.
Right side of the offensive line there. Just pull up and open up a truck lane. But you're right, Rod. I mean, battle to win the division is still on in both divisions.
Well, one thing's guaranteed in the West as McDaniel makes another catch and another first down is that Calgary and Edmonton both are guaranteed a home playoff game. Not sure if it's a West final or a West semifinal.
The playoffs will be played in Alberta. We know that. But who
in the
gets
East?
in and can Montreal fight back and cross over the first time that would ever happen?
3:20 on the clock, please.
You know, and a lot of people in this country and the experts across the country were kind of saying that the new king on the block is the Edmonton Eskimos, especially in the West Division, because they beat Calgary finally at McMahon Stadium. But I keep wondering, with all the injuries that they've overcome and a coach on the verge of his 100th victory, and how well this team is prepared, the defending champions, are they getting overlooked in this discussion as a team that can get back there? I mean, Foes look pretty good again tonight.
Foes look pretty good all season, as a matter of fact.
Eric Rogers, Marquay McDaniel.
That's the problem when you are the hunted.
A possible combination of Jerome Messam and John Cornish down the stretch and into the playoffs.
Yeah, the road to the Grey Cup in the West certainly goes through Alberta. Mitchell now, kill shot, and Eric Rogers. Are you kidding?
He was too open.
Oh,
he was too open.
Goodness, that was the deal sealer. And Eric Rogers, just after we propped him up with all the touchdowns again, this was a gimme.
Well, he had too long to think about it. I'm wide open. How's it going? What's going on?
Oh, it's not a beautiful day. That is.
It happens to the best of them.
That's what they call it, the not so highlight of the night.
Well, you just had too long to think about that throw, and it couldn't have been any better.
Bet she goes back to him. Sideline, looking for West.
Mitchell's pass.
A.J. Jefferson.
Third down.
So they're going to boot it. 3-minute warning on the field. Chad Owens, that's a good side, walking her along the sideline. Argos down 2 touchdowns. I don't think John Hufnagel really concerns himself with numbers, but he's moments away from his 100th win. He would be the second fastest to 100 wins. Wally Buono, the all-time winningest coach, did it faster.
134 games to get to 100 wins for Wally Buono, and John Hufnagel gets it today at 142. Boy, what a resume. 2008 when he came back in the league, led Calgary to a Grey Cup championship led by Henry Burris.
Wally got to 100 with Calgary, and Huff to follow, close to being blocked. Unless the Argos have some sort of miracle finish here. And again, Chad Owens out of the ball game right now. A.J. Jefferson. We've been watching Chad Owens walk up and down the sideline, and according to Matt on the sideline, he is refusing to go to the treatment table. Trying to bend that knee, walking back and forth. He's got a very sour look on his face as Rob Cote comes over.
And once you get there and they put ice on it, that's it. And I think Chad Owens, that's it for your night. And I think Chad Owens was trying to convince whoever would listen that he's going to walk this one off, but I'd be surprised. I don't think we'll see him. They've hidden his helmet.
2.5 minutes to go. Hazelton looking for some blocks. Well, Hazelton swallowed up, pounced on at the 34-yard line, an 8-yard pickup.
So the Calgary Stampeders, if this holds, will put a little pressure on the Edmonton Eskimos playing in the game right after this one.
The hold serve. Harris is in trouble, and 2nd and 2 though. He will move the sticks. Jonathan Jennings playing in that game for the BC Lions. Quarterback shuffle throughout the league. Kevin Glenn going to Montreal, and that could make it interesting.
We'll see him tomorrow afternoon, and they've given him a playbook to work with that is not the full playbook just yet, but
Hazelton again. Alouettes need to pull out all the punches now. Again, if you're going to cross over, you cannot have the same amount of wins as the team in the West. You must have more wins.
Right. Yeah, you have to outright beat them in the standings, and so that gives BC the upper hand. That's why that game after ours is so important to the Lions.
Another 2nd down. Argos, if they can find a way to the end zone, you never know. Not down. On the corner by Brandon McDonald. And there's a penalty flag there.
It's going to be pass interference on Brandon McDonald. I'm not sure about this one, but when I saw it live, as John Hufnagel reaches and makes sure that his challenge flag is available. You know, it looked like he came in. Hazelton's just going to run a curl route in front of him. A little curl there.
Pass interference. Calgary, number 21. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
The only thing there is that Hazelton did turn a little bit. And the reason I say that is you can, as a DB, you can put your hand around his back. You just can't turn him.
And they are challenging this.
Yeah, they're going to take a look at it. I mean, we could see it again, but you can have your hand on the back of the receiver on a curl route. You can be, guiding yourself to knock it down with your hand on his back. What you can't do is grab the jersey and pull it off, or turn the receiver as you're reaching for the ball. So did Hazelton get turned by McDonald? I mean, this is not going to affect the outcome of this game, but we all continue to try and find consistency in pass interference.
It's been a bit of a gray area at times this season. In a 5-yard restraining area, the jam rule this year as well. Still a minute 41 to go. Now again, if the Argos can get to the end zone quickly.
Calgary is challenging the ruling on the field of defensive pass interference. We'll review the play.
Once more, take a look. Man.
There was some question from whether or not that ball was tipped. I don't think it was. The ball's tipped. The contact now is not pass interference. I don't think that ball was tipped at the line. It looked like it went over his hand. So this is just about whether or not Hazelton was turned by McDonald.
After review, the ruling on the field has been confirmed. Pass interference, number 31 Calgary. First down.
They're saying he did turn him with that hand on the waist.
Time is the enemy for the Argos. Have to get to the house.
And the way Hazelton ends up, watch how he ends up here. He ends up, he's facing, and then he ends up twisted and facing the sideline, which would indicate that he's been twisted.
Harris, slant. Gurley. And Stampeder is down. Is that Tavon Campbell? And he's quick to trying to get up. No, he's going to stay on his knee. And here is a team that is already short a couple of corners and already hit by the numbers. Remember, he's a Canadian, a national cornerback. Like he jammed his hand when he brought Gurley to the turf.
Fred Bennett, Joe Burnett, Buddy Jackson hurt early in the season. Now he hasn't been able to get back on the field. I can't even list the O-line injuries that they've gone through. John Cornish again out tonight. And a 27-13 lead.
So Harris looking to that corner again and almost picked by McDonald. Underthrow on that one. Minute 24 to go.
Marcel just had the wideout out there, Vidal Hazelton, and one-on-one on Brandon McDonald. You mentioned it off the top. I know we've talked about him and his penalty issues in Ottawa, and it was funny that Marcel Desjardins, the general manager, said it was never about ability for Brandon McDonald. He's a good player.
Well, 3rd down and 2, and they keep it, and fumbled football, but it was whistled, and it looked like Whitaker was down. Tackled by Frank Beltre. So they'll keep it going here, but the hourglass is running out for the Argos.
He's down by contact for sure there.
They've got to get it to the end zone in a hurry. Get an onside kick. Harris moves the pocket, but he's sacked. Tag team back there. Micah Johnson slow to get up. Too often you see the sacker get hurt.
He's not getting up.
Timeout, Toronto.
There's the two guys involved. Micah Johnson, the first I circled, and the inside. Charleston Hughes up top. They'll meet at Trevor Harris, and is it Hughes that just dragged his knee?
One thing you just never can prepare yourself enough for are the amount of injuries that you get, or inopportune injuries for the Calgary Stampeders. Almost in every position except at quarterback this season.
You better knock on wood when you say that.
Yeah, they've been hammered. They've been hammered by the injury bug.
Okay.
In this game, as a matter of fact,
well, there's 3 quarterbacks that have started every game.
2 in this game.
Yeah. Trevor Harris is one, Bo Levi Mitchell's the other, and Henry Burris. And he's 40 years old, and he's the MOP candidate and leader in that race right now. Another 370 last night.
2nd and 20 after the sack. Here they come again. He's got to step up and sling it. Hazelton, and it's picked. That is it. Brandon Smith. A couple of big plays defensively today. Another interception thrown by Trevor Harris, and we can kiss this one goodnight.
Definitely catchable ball. A little bit behind him, but definitely catchable for Vidal Hazelton. Catch that the first time, and Brandon Smith doesn't have a crack at it, but he keeps closing. And remember, that's his 2nd of the night, as you mentioned. He'll drink to that.
The first one was a huge one early in the ball game as well. Calgary Stampeders started this game with a touchdown on their 2nd possession after a turnover. And this guy led them to another victory, our Nissan Titan player of the game.
Well, you know, he got off to such a great start. 147 yards passing in the first half, used all his targets. Marquay McDaniel was the first half guy. Then he went to Eric Rogers, a leading receiver in the league. But it was a 21-28, 266 game, 2 touchdowns.
Should have been 3.
Should have been 3, and he should have been over 300.
Yes.
If Eric Rogers doesn't drop a sure touchdown throw when he was in behind coverage.
And they won't throw it now because there's 30 seconds left. So, Bo Mitchell, you are the Nissan Titan player of the game, brought to you by Nissan, official vehicle of the CFL. You know, every week it seems there's a different narrative surrounding the MOPs. Yes, Henry Burris has been a constant in the East, along with Trevor Harris, Eric Rogers as well, but can't forget about this guy.
Yeah, it's like they're jostling for position, you know, and Burris is kind of holding on to 1, and then Bo's been 1A. Eric Rogers has jumped up to 1A. Trevor Harris has been neck and neck with Henry Burris at times.
Maybe jumped ahead after the Owens catch that game a little bit.
Exactly, and moved
you know what it's
forward.
like? It's like the election. And you know what? These guys are ready. They're all ready.
I've been told a couple things. We don't talk on the air about religion or politics. Those are the 2 rules that you don't ever talk about.
Well, you've got nice hair.
All we'll say is vote on Monday. Make sure you vote on Monday.
Well, we've got great races in the CFL primary, that's for sure. Down the stretch we go. Final month before the playoffs begin. A lot to be determined.
Well, this result, too, when you look from the Toronto angle, Ottawa wins last night. Montreal plays tomorrow against Hamilton.
And they are going to throw the football back because there's a bunch of time left, and he's looking at that clock, and they're going to give up 2 points with 6 seconds to go. Wise play.
It is for a couple reasons. They're going to have to kick it off to Toronto, but the time will be out. And here's the. It saves in any other injuries too. Calgary Stampeders looking. Let's just get this thing over with.
Here is the concern for the Argos starting tomorrow when they start to get word about Chad Owens. I tell you what, for the hit he took and the way that he was rolled up and the amount of pain he had, I think it's remarkable that he's actually walking on that side.
No, yeah, that's real good news, and hopefully he'll be okay moving forward.
Well, he is a guy that the Argos have.
So Hamilton have a chance tomorrow to move up the division.
An official is down, but Chad Owens has been a leader. He's back up. A lot of injuries in this game, including the men in the black and white. Chad Owens has been a leader for this team. And yeah, the numbers were down, but chatting with Brandon Whitaker and Trevor Harris and everybody talked about how he got all of the receivers together, even though he wasn't a big part of it early on. And he was the captain. He was the guy.
Not
still is.
You're
and
not,
still is.
I know you're not surprised,
No.
and neither am I. I mean, that's who he is. It's who he's always been.
Maybe one of the, for a guy who does so much in this game, might be one of the most selfless players around. Humble superstar as they run it up the gut with 2 seconds to go. Curtis Steele. It's his first touch. The final play of the game. John Huffnagel, you are now a member of the 100-win club. Second fastest to 100 career victories. Big win tonight puts the Calgary Stampeders in first place in the West for the moment. Their 12th win of the year. The Stampeders beat the Argos in Hamilton 27-15 tonight.